All right, we're live. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Sorry if I kept you waiting, but here we are. We're going to start the show. I got my main man, Smitty, to the right of me. So, what's up? We brought in Smitty for today. Can't get enough of Smitty. Last night, live on Instagram was good times. We talked about
A
the
little
season
spicy.
expectations. It was a little spicy. So, I kind of want to continue off that, but maybe more focus on the Niners today, answer some questions and just see what's up with everybody. So how are you doing, my man? How you doing, Smitty?
I'm good. I got a hard stop probably in like 20 minutes or so. Because then I got to go live. But I'm good, man. Just busy. Such a busy week because I've not only is the NFL coming and I've got all the news and the shows, but I got all these drafts I got to help people with. So it's like double time for me.
That's true.
But I can't wait. I'm tired of mock drafts. I'm ready for the real show to begin. So
yeah. How many mock drafts do you do a week?
I've slowed down the last week or two because I've gotten tired of doing them over and over and over. But like from like April until now, we mock draft like 3 or 4 nights a week at like midnight, and we'll do like essentially, 5, 6 mock drafts in one night. So it's like tons of mock drafting. But
A lot of
yeah,
work.
I'm glad that's over. It's time to whoa. Sorry, phone blaring. Glad we're here at this season, ready to go. And yeah, congrats on 4K, man.
Appreciate you. We're still not exactly where we want to be, but I appreciate the support, and we're getting there. Still figuring this thing out, but I appreciate you, Smitty. How is everybody doing in the chat? Today's Friday. I'm happy it's Friday. Oh man, it has been a busy week, Smitty. It's been a crazy week for the Niners specifically. Just football is ramping up. We are less than a week away from the actual NFL football. I'm very excited about that. Again, yesterday we had our prediction show. So let's get into the Niners. So what are your season expectations for the San Francisco 49ers? I know we touched on it yesterday. You do think that they're going to win, 11, 12 games? Like, do you honestly – I think you're definitely a Niner fan at this point now. I know you root for us. I know you root for Trey Lance. But do you seriously think – without a shadow of a doubt, the Niners can make the NFC Championship game?
I think they can. I mean, it got spicy if people missed it on Instagram. Well, actually, you put it on YouTube as well.
Yeah,
we got spicy because I tried to say that I believe the two teams that will push the Niners and the Rams will be the Eagles and the Cowboys. And you guys thought I was saying the Cowboys were going to the Super Bowl. I'm like, no. So we started like screaming and yelling back and forth. But it's like I think the NFC is it's a lot lighter work, like I'm not saying the Rams or the Niners aren't going to be a really good opponent, whoever ends up showing up to the big dance, but the Niners and the Rams both have their questions, right? I mean, we can admit that there's questions on all, like the Bucs have questions. We don't know what Tom Brady's going through right now. Cowboys are always a team that looks good, and then when they get to the playoffs, they crap the bed. Eagles are totally unproven, but I love them. Yeah. There's the Rams are injured. Stafford's got this elbow thing. I mean, there's questions across the board for every single NFC top dog team. Whereas like the AFC, I mean, it's loaded. So I think anybody can make it from the NFC. Anybody. Like it wouldn't be crazy if the Eagle, like it wouldn't be crazy if any of these teams found a path to not only the NFC Championship game, but a way moving forward and surprising people. Look at the Bengals did last year. Nobody thought the Bengals in the AFC would make it to the Super Bowl, but your boy Smitty, and they did. And I think that to say that the Cowboys or the Eagles or the Bucs or anybody couldn't make it is, I think it's crazy to say that. The Cardinals, but I think Cardinals have such a tough schedule. It's a wide open conference. It's not like the AFC.
Yeah.
I know you guys. I know as a Niner fan base, you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's crazy. The Cowboys aren't gonna be the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Rams, and the Niners. Any one of them, even the Packers, any one of them could be the NFC champion." I mean,
I agree, Smitty. The NFC is very, very, very wide open. And I go back. I've been saving this tweet for like the whole offseason. It was when Debo said so I think it was when Devontae Adams left the Packers and he went to the Raiders, and it was like crazy news. And Debo tweeted, he goes, the NFC is wide open. And he goes, the NFC's, or he said something, let me actually find that tweet. He said something like, I think the NFC is going to be easy, or you know what I mean? Like, what did he say? What did he say? I need to get the exact quote he says, but and this basically is he spoke a lot of truth in this. He goes, let me see if I can find it. Let me pull back all the
Well,
Debo tweets.
while you're looking for it, I
Yeah,
honestly feel like
here.
it's everyone has major question marks. The Cardinals have a very tough schedule. DeAndre Hopkins out, continuity issues. You've got all the turmoil and drama going on behind Trey Lance and Jimmy G. You've got Brady and his situation, like the Packers losing Devontae Adams, no wide receivers. The Rams dealing with Stafford's elbow. There, you look at the AFC. There's no AFC team that they don't really have problems. They don't have any problems. Herbert,
You're
everything's on the way up. Everything's on the up. And the Broncos, I know you don't think they're going to end up being an amazing team, but they
yeah,
have no problems like in sight right now. You know, then you got the Raiders. You've got the Chiefs lost Tyreek Hill, so they're kind of
yeah.
the one team that kind of resembles like chaos kind of going on like it is
I,
in the NFC. You got the Bengals kind of they can only improve, even though Jake last night said that
oh
Jamar
man,
Chase is going to have a bad
that was
season. I'm like,
something
you've
else.
got to be kidding me.
He took wow, man. That was the spiciest part of the whole night. You guys went at it, and I mean that was crazy to say that. I mean, I think they'll struggle a little bit because of the you know the Super Bowl hangover. But I mean, the fact that he was like just calling Burrow a bum, I was just come on now. But so I found the tweet. So Debo tweeted, "This is the day that Devontae Adams gets signed by the Raiders. This was the big, the big move. Oh my God, breaking news." Debo tweeted, he goes, "Conference is getting easy and easier by the day." Debo knows this conference is wide open. The Niners have a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Like anybody in the NFC, honestly, if you have a decent defense, you got some weapons, you can win 9, 10 games. You got a chance to make to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. It's a wide open race. There's no like team that screams at you like, "Oh my God, they're going to have this NFC by the neck," right? Like the Niners might actually be one of the top teams in the NFC. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Niner fan, but literally look at the roster, top to bottom, 7 players from the NFL top 100. You got a great team, man. I think people forget that we were in the NFC Championship game last year. But again, we did talk about Super Bowl hangover. There's, you know, that NFC West or that NFC Championship. Sometimes you get there, and then you can't repeat that success. It is hard to get back to that level again, to the close to the top of the mountain again. But this team always battles adversity, and if they can kind of stay healthy and play as good as they can with all that talent, I don't think it's impossible. And again, this NFC is very, very wide open. There's no clear cut favorite. I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Tom Brady and the Bucs, they're your favorite." I don't know, man. I just don't see the Bucs being that great. Their offensive line is going through some stuff. Their
Mm-hmm.
defense is solid, but they also do have question marks around receiver. I know Chris Godwin's not 100%. Mike Evans is going to have a lot of pressure on his shoulders. I mean, they got Julio Jones, but is Julio Jones from like 4 or 5 years ago? No, he's Julio Jones that had a miserable season that Smitty called last year. He told everybody, stay away from Julio Jones. And Tom Brady, between me and you, Smitty, we both think he's going through something. Speak on it.
I mean, bro, he's 45 years old. He took off 10 to 14 days in August. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Tom Brady. Your team isn't Tom Brady. You're Tom Brady, but there's other men on that roster that aren't Tom Brady. Maybe Tom Brady can take it off, but guess what? Tom Brady is going to not jive and gel as well with this team than if he showed up for all of August. I can guarantee you that. They're not just going to come in and not miss a beat. He took a big risk not coming, and it had to have been quite a situation to say football secondary right now, because that's not the mentality of an NFL player. I don't care if you've got a family or whatever. You're an NFL player. You got a short window of time. Tom Brady's just a long window of time, but he's at the end of it. So he does have a short window of time left. He decided to come back. And if you remember heading into that playoff loss last year, he was interviewed that week prior or a couple days prior. I think maybe even the day before the game. And they said, "Are you thinking about hanging it up?" In so many words. And he said, "No." He goes, "I can't imagine retiring when I feel like I'm playing at such a high level. And then he retired after the game. So, and I said, as soon as it happened, I said he was forced to retire. He was forced to retire because his genuine answer before the game was that he couldn't imagine it. Not just, I don't think so. I can't imagine retiring at playing at this high level. They lose the game badly, and then he retires. And then he comes right back. So he's going through some stuff, but I firmly believe that the age combined with the fact that this team lost both guards and their center.
Yeah.
And they lost AB. You lost part of Godwin because he's not going to come back 100% from the ACL recovery. And so you have Julio and Gage coming in. You haven't gelled with them. Gage has been hurt all camp pretty much. So now you have no rapport built there. You lose Gronk. You're trying to develop rapport with the new tight ends, and then you're trying to revive Cameron Brate. You've got a lot of problems and a lot of moving parts. I think Tom Brady and the Bucs start out on a very bumpy road. And maybe they recover because, like we've said, it's such a wide open thing, and that conference or that division is so weak that they could crawl into 9 wins and still win the division.
And that's what I'm saying. This NFC is so wide open, and a couple of these things. So the great JM, he says Russ is gone, Devontae's gone, the Bucs O-line is getting worse. Kingsbury's still with Arizona. Rams are top heavy. Cowboys receiver core is not the same. So there's questions on every team. Every team has a question. The Niners, you can sit here and say the O-line is questionable, right? Every team has some type of question mark going in. So teams can struggle, and if they can figure out how to get back on track, they can make it to the playoffs with 9 or 10 wins. That's how the NFC is going to be. It's going to be a wide open field. And I think you're right. Everybody expects Tom Brady to march in the playoffs because he's Tom Brady. I get it. He's great. Eventually, the mighty fall. Eventually, Tom Brady's going to come crashing down. I think this might be the year. And I know a lot of people, there's some comments that say, the Niners should have went all in like the Rams. They go on spend mode and make sure there were no holds on paper. You know what? You got to look at it. They were trying to make sure they got Debo. The Jimmy situation, that was a whole crazy situation. But the more we've kind of heard from Lynch on it, he spoke about it today on KMBR, a little bit of yesterday. And he says, look, they didn't think this was even going to be a situation. They didn't think they were going to keep Jimmy until about a month ago. They came down, and one day Lynch was like, hey, what about if we do this? Let's keep Jimmy. And Kyle's like, what do you mean? I don't think he would do it. And they talked to him. And they knew they weren't going to be able to trade him, so they came up with this whole situation. That whole offseason for the Niners, I didn't think they did spend money. I mean, they brought Ray McLeod in. He's going to help with the special teams. I think he could be a nice little extra depth guy in the receiving core. They brought in Charvarius Ward. I don't think people are giving Charvarius Ward as much, credit as he needs, because this guy is a massive cornerback. This was a big need for the Niners. The cornerback was an issue last year. Remember Josh Norman, Drake Kirkpatrick? This was the big money move they made. They couldn't sign everybody else. They had to sign Debo, and you know how that whole situation went. And, they needed the money for Debo. And they got to save some money for next year because they got Nick Bosa. John Lynch yesterday said they are trying to, bring back some guys and extend some players. So you would think maybe Mosley, maybe, Jimmy Ward, maybe Dre Greenlaw, whoever they're going to try to extend, they're working on it, So they got to keep money for the future. And again, you got to remember, they were a team that was 10 minutes away from the Super Bowl, and they still have pretty much the same roster. If they lost a few guys, again, I think the biggest hole for the Niners is the offensive line. But, you weren't going to be able to sign Lakin, and you already kind of gave up on him last year because you signed Aaron Banks. The center position, that was a question mark, but you knew Mack would probably retire. So I think they should have addressed it maybe more in the draft. But I think they had a solid draft. So overall, again, every team is going to have some issue.
In the NFC.
In the NFC, yeah, in the NFC.
Yeah, AFC, it's only the Chiefs that really have an issue because they lost, like Green Bay, they lost a big wide receiver. But Mahomes has been looking good in the preseason and been facilitating the football around just fine. So I don't know that the Chiefs qualify as a team in shambles at all. I think the entire AFC is stacked and healthy and strong and unquestionable, whereas the NFC is put it in a blender and just mix it around. So it's again, in my opinion, and Niner fans will laugh at this because they just, you guys, you look at the Cowboys from a certain lens no matter what. But the Cowboys, I'm not saying they're good in the playoffs. They're like the Packers. They're going to drop the ball in the playoffs. They just the way it goes. But to make it to a certain level, like one win in the playoffs, like to maybe even make it to a championship game, maybe even the Cowboys could do that. Cowboys, Eagles. So what matters to me is, and we can't know this, are the Niners going to face off against the Rams? You know, like we don't know what the seeding is going to be. So if the Niners are facing the Rams early on in the playoffs, and then you have the Eagles and the Cowboys on the other side of that bracket, then one of them is going to the NFC Championship game. You know what I mean? Whenever I say the Cowboys could go to the NFC Championship game, people immediately say something like, oh my God, how can you say that the Niners or the Rams aren't going when the Niners and the Rams might play each other?
Yeah.
So it's not always that easy. So do I think the Eagles could be that team? Yeah, but there's so much coaching. Like, I don't like Sirianni, but I love this team. You know, I think Sirianni's an iffy coach, you know, kind of like Kingsbury, you know, like I think the team's good. I don't know that I fully believe in Kingsbury either. I'm not as against him as you are. Like, I'm willing to let him have one more year.
Yeah.
But I feel like Sirianni's doubted Hurts the entire way. Same thing with Peterson before him. So there's some question marks there. I think CeeDee Lamb's got to have that year with Dak. And Dak had a good year last year, but Dak and CeeDee together were not quite on the same page. I think this happens this year. I think CeeDee Lamb's lined up all over the field. I think Tony Pollard and Zeke Elliott. Tony Pollard ends up having a huge year.
Yeah.
Dalton Schultz is amazing. People say things like, oh, Amari Cooper left. Oh, my God, Cedric Wilson left. Cedric Wilson was nothing. They got a kid named Tolbert. They got Dalton Schultz ready to step up. They've got as many weapons as anybody to catch the football. And they're going to be a top 5, top 7 offense in the NFL like they were last year.
Yeah,
That's
I think
what they were.
Lamb should take that leap, right? Like, if Amari Cooper's gone and everybody's worried, he's going to get all the catches. So I think CeeDee Lamb and Dak, this could be the year where they really become a very, nasty duo together in this league. Again, Pollard's probably going to have a better year than Zeke. I think Zeke's fell off. We want to talk about washed up players. Zeke Elliott. I joke a lot about, well, I don't really joke. I talk a lot about D-Hop being washed. Zeke Elliott has been bathed in a tub of washed upness. He's crazy. So, you're right. Every team has issues. Eagles, I think they have a chance to win that division. But yeah, you're right. Will they believe in Jalen Hurts? I don't know. It feels like the coaching staff, they just never believe in the guy and giving him a fair opportunity. But he has all the tools to succeed on that offense. That team is pretty loaded. In terms of AJ Brown changes everything for them, and they got Jalen Rager, or not Jalen Rager. They got Devonta Smith on the other side, so they got two really solid wide receivers.
Goddard's a really good tight end.
They got good players on that team. So the Eagles might be a team that we sleep on that could make it deep into the playoffs. I could see Niners, Eagles. I could see the Packers and Eagles. And the Niners, and those guys are being pretty tough teams. So, and we forget about the Packers. I know they lost Devontae Adams. They still got Aaron Rodgers, and we talked about this yesterday with Jake. Like, he doesn't believe in him. Aaron Rodgers is a great regular season quarterback. He may not do much in the playoffs, but I think he could take this team, because he's Aaron Rodgers, into the playoffs. And regardless who he has on his team. And Aaron Jones is probably going to have to step up. We talk about Tom Brady being so good, and he's just going to march his way to the playoffs. Well, what about Aaron Rodgers? He's good too. And then you get the Vikings. They got a hell of a team. They go as far as Kirk Cousins could take them. He's not a big name or a big game clutch money quarterback, but he has a damn good team on his shoulders. So I think they can make some noise. So NFC is crazy. I want to kind of hit on some of these questions real quick. Drew C says, if we would have changed one thing and just kept Lakin, paid the price tag, this team would be complete and legit have close to no holes. Yeah, I know everybody wishes they could have kept Lakin, but when they drafted Aaron Banks, they already were telling us, all right, Lakin's probably gone because we don't know if we're going to be able to afford that price tag. Again, I wish they would have kept Lakin, but by keeping Aaron Banks, by drafting him, you already set that plan in action. You already kind of basically said, okay, we're saying goodbye to Lakin, and you have to start this second round pick. You can't just sit him and waste him.
At the same time, though, you already have a quarterback, and you're doing the same exact thing with Jimmy G, and you know what I mean. So, like, would it have been smart to have Tomlinson anyway, and been like, we'll figure this out and have the double up? You know what I mean? So I'd rather double up there than double up at quarterback.
I agree. I don't disagree. I'm just saying from the Niners' perspective was we already put in our chips on Aaron Banks. we got to let him develop. But no lineman, you got to get out there and play. Same thing with any position. You got to get out there and play. But, I think they thought, the thing with Lakin was he was a free agent. So they didn't think they were going to be able to pay him the money. Thing with Jimmy was he still had a year left on his contract. So they probably thought they were going to be able to trade him. And when it didn't, manifest itself, they were like, oh, shit, now what's plan C at this? What's plan Q at this point? It's probably at plan Q. So, I definitely wish, Drew, that they would have kept Lakin. I think every Niner fan wishes they would have kept Lakin because this guy was durable, Pro Bowl guy. I mean, he's him and Trent Williams on that left side were as solid as anybody. So I know that's going to be a big issue going into the season is that O-line, but if these guys can gel and protect Trey and keep him upright and block for this run game, Niners are going to be a problem. But that definitely is something we have to keep an eye on. That O-line all offseason has been something we've been worried about. And going into this season, that is definitely going to be something where every week we're going to be all eyes on the O-line. It's going to be like, oh, man, when after the game, you're going to be sitting there either cursing them or praising them.
Yeah. I think I just think it would have been bad to double up on the one hole or the one concern because no one's concerned about the wide receivers, no one's concerned about the running back room, no one's concerned about the quarterback room, even if it didn't have Jimmy, because you're only worried about the starter. Like everything was perfect. Defense, it was just off. So why not double down? I mean, I just think it's ridiculous. I'm still not going to let it go. Jimmy G's retaining Jimmy G's mistake. It's a mistake. There's
at this point, Smitty, you got to accept it. It is what it is. It happened, and now I've come to grips with it. You got to come to grips with reality. It's
trying.
I know you don't love it. I know you don't like it. I know you're not a Jimmy guy, and it's not. I think they did what they had to do, and this was honestly a resolution. At least at this point, like the saving grace with Jimmy staying with it. At least we have a resolution to the whole. Like of course, there's going to be stories that come up after this, but geez, man, we don't have to keep sitting there. Is Jimmy going to the Browns? It's over. All the speculation.
Yeah, but the problem is now, is he going to be traded?
But one thing, Smitty, you have to realize, and this is, I think, what you got to realize in this whole situation is whatever Lynch and Shanahan tell us, they are telling us exactly what's going to happen because a couple months ago, they even said it is a possibility. It is a possibility. Like they told us, don't count out any possibility. And here we are a couple months later. Jimmy's still on the roster. And as much as it is a crazy situation, it's really not because the only people that think this is awkward is everybody in the media, right? And some fans. But they're cool with it. Shanahan, explained it to them. Trey Lance is the most ultimate professional. He's like, whatever, man. This is my team. Jimmy's a cool brother. I could go, shoot ideas off of him. And if anything, this is good for Trey because now in the game, you know how Shanahan gets. He's pissed off. He'll put you in the doghouse. He's got enough things on his plate. He doesn't need to worry about Trey Lance coming and asking him questions in the middle of the game. Now he could say, I could just have Jimmy answer his damn questions. Jimmy, go take care of Trey. I got to go talk to this damn receiver who can't run a dig route and catch the ball. I need to go chew this guy out. Jimmy, just go handle Trey. So Kyle Shanahan has essentially made Jimmy Garoppolo an extension of the coaching staff. You got Brian Griese, who we don't know if he's going to be a good quarterback coach, right? But now you have Jimmy, who's like an extra coach on the field. His coach Jimmy, clipboard Jimmy, is going to go out there and help Trey succeed. It's a good situation to me.
It's a good way to spin it. I mean, you're spinning it for sure, but I understand it, and you got nowhere to go from here. Like, what are you going to do? Keep complaining over and over? I feel like I can, but I understand. I understand where you're coming from. But all I know is that if we're sitting here in week 8 or week 10 and we're having to have a weird conversation that is not related to Darren's concern, which Trey ain't ready. No one's ready, Darren. Darren, you're not ready. You weren't ready to make that comment till you made it, and now you're ready. Like that's the nature of everything in life, Darren. Herbert wasn't ready. Herbert wasn't ready when the starting quarterback was punctured in the lung by a trainer and they literally shoved him out there without even stretching. Was he ready? He wasn't ready, Darren. He got ready. That's the nature of life. Okay. You come out of the womb. Are you ready? No, you're not. So he'll get ready. Don't worry about that. But I just hope Shanahan doesn't walk in the middle of progress and just say, I he's banged up. We're gonna keep him on the bench a little longer. If we have a conversation like that mid-season, I'm gonna lose it. But until then, Trey's gonna be like, Jimmy, whatever.
It's my team. Yeah, and that's what he says. He goes, "This is my squad." Like he's talking, he's QB1. He goes, they talked to me. I said, "Cool, what it is, what it is." And so this is what I really like about this whole situation, because again, when I first heard the news, Smitty, I definitely was like, "What is going on?" I was shocked like everybody else. I wasn't too sure about it, but I've really kind of sat down. I've listened to what John has had to say, and Kyle, and everybody, and other people around me. And John Lynch today on KMBR, he says, "Look, man, we made this decision. Obviously we talked to Kyle. I talked to Jimmy Garoppolo. I talked to Trey Lance. I even talked to Nate Sudfeld," he said, and he got everybody to understand. And he pulled up. He says he pulled it. This is one of the things he said today on KMBR. He says, "I went in and I talked to about 15 team leaders." He pulled 15 team leaders, majority of the locker room, and he told them, like, "Yo, this is the situation. We got Trey coming. We got Jimmy coming. Trey's our quarterback." And he told the media, he told the interviewer on KMBR, he goes, "Look, I told him Trey's the guy. We are 100% behind Trey. We don't care if he struggles. This is our guy. Let's support him." And the team said, "Okay, man, this is what we got to do. We're gonna back Trey Lance." And that's the thing. This Niner team is like no other. They're a family. They love each other. They're not gonna butt heads, because the guy asked him. He goes, "Well, what if Trey struggles, and you got Jimmy and Kittle or Debo, and they kind of look at Jimmy in the locker room as like kind of like, yo, we need to change this up." John Lynch says, "You know what, that happened last year, but it people were spinning that story last year with when Jimmy had a horrible game, but people are like, put in Trey Lance." Me and you would say that, right? And he goes, "At the end of the day, Trey was supportive of Jimmy, and now we're gonna ask Jimmy to be supportive of Trey no matter what, unless there's an injury." So I think they're very committed. And again, when John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan tell us something, we need to take it for what the value is, because they're not lying to us. I know in the past we used to think they used to lie to us. I think now they're literally telling us what is going to happen, but we don't want to. But it's up to us to believe it, but we usually don't, right? Right, Smitty? We don't usually believe it.
In fairness, Jimmy did say goodbye. In fairness, they kind of closed the door on the Jimmy G thing. Like Shanahan did have a moment where it was like, we're moving on, Trey, and talked about he's gone. And then he was kept out of the locker room, wasn't given a playbook. He was like isolated. So, I mean, in fairness, I don't know that we weren't listening. There was the possibility of it. You're right. But I mean, it changed directions quick, man. That was awkward. That was really it wasn't like a smooth, he was kept. It was the plan the whole time. I don't care what anybody says. That wasn't the plan, because he was literally like outside the doors, let me in. And then all of a sudden he's back on the practice field. So like,
well, yeah, it was weird because of how it just escalated so quickly. But again, they were talking about it. But because they approached Jimmy and they said, "Hey, look, this is what we're going to do. Do you think that's cool?" And at first he was like, "Well, I don't know. I still kind of want to see what's best for me." So his agents and stuff, they were still looking. And then I think they came to a conclusion. They said, "Okay, you know what? Let's figure this out." And that's what Lynch said. He goes, "Okay." Then by the time Jimmy came to agreement with it and says, "Yeah, let's roll it," they said it was only a matter of minutes. He goes, "We kind of had like the framework of a contract and everything figured out. So we got that up quick. We dolled that up real quick." So yeah, like the last couple of days, it was just like, boom, they made it happen, because they still were thinking of getting rid of Jimmy. They still were trying to trade him, but he goes, it kind of froze. This is what one of the most interesting things was. He goes, John Lynch, he says, it kind of went from a lot of chatter to it just went cold, because I think at that point, and this is one thing me and you said, there was literally no teams that needed a quarterback at that point, right? He says during the combine, there was like 2-3 teams. They were knocking at the door, and he was busy the combine. And then the day after that, first day at the combine, he got the surgery, because Jimmy was going through that conservative management. He didn't want to do the surgery. And it was like, and this is when John was like, yeah, it was literally the next day. They were like, okay, we got to get surgery, because they failed conservative management, because Jimmy didn't want to go into the knife initially, and it was like the last option. And when the doctor called him, was like, yo, we got to do the surgery. He had to call these teams and tell them, yo, things have changed. We got to go surgery. So I'm sure that teams kind of took that message, when they were about to trade for Jimmy and they heard last minute. I think all teams kind of shut down communication. They're like, okay, you got a surgery. This was last minute. We're just going to pull away. I think all the teams kind of lost interest at that point. And then you saw, boom, quarterback dominoes away. So I think at that point, the surgery definitely, we talked about it before, complicated matters. but they kept a good relationship with Jimmy, and I think that was important in this whole situation. Again, at the end of the day, this is Trey Lance's team, and they're going to let him go out there and do what he has to do. He's going to fail. He's going to fail. They're going to let him. If he's going to succeed, he's going to succeed, and they're going to let him. So that, I think, is the biggest takeaway, is this is still Trey's team, and I think people need to realize this is Trey Lance's team and nobody else.
It is, and for the I saw a comment in there that says, "Why, if you believe in Trey, then you shouldn't be worried about Jimmy." That's true to a very solid extent, and I've said that 1,000 times over. But there's still a certain amount of risk that we can't that Trey, it's out of Trey's hands. Even if he's amazing, if he gets hurt, and then the scenario of Jimmy coming in, the team winning a game or two, and then Trey's ready to come back, and then Shanahan stands in the way. That's what we're talking about. Of course, I'm not worried about Trey beating out Jimmy from a talent perspective. You out of your mind? But yeah. All right, I got to jump because I got to go live. But man, I can't wait for football, man. I can't wait for football. What time is the game? The Niner game? It's
next
Sunday.
Week. I think
Not
it's
this Sunday, but
afternoon game, because they were playing Chicago, so
yeah, okay,
probably a 10 or 1 o'clock game.
Yeah, we should do like a wrap up show like at a certain time or something.
So we'll do our post game together next, because I do the post game report. Maybe I'll have you do the post game with me this season. Me and you will go post game. I got a pregame. I'm gonna do one with a fan of another team, whether it be
Nice.
a fan page or a blogger or somebody. I'm gonna reach out to somebody every week, and we're gonna do a pre-show. Maybe you could join in on those. So next week, I'm so excited. I got Bear Down Cuz, and we're gonna preview the Chicago Niners game. We got my man Bear Down Cuz. So maybe you can hop in with us next week.
Yeah. The only thing with Bear Down is like he's gonna come in and not give you much. He's gonna start belittling his own team. He's gonna be like, "We're garbage. You're gonna steamroll us," and you're gonna be like, "Bear Down, I'm here to try and like argue with you." And go, "We're bad. What do you want from us? We have no offensive line. We're building from the trenches." So
he's the most negative.
Yeah, he
love it.
They call him Negative Cuz.
Yeah, I love
Bear Down though. Bear Down's watching. I love Bear Down. He's such a positive guy outside of the Bears though.
He is.
You know, like that's if I needed somebody to cheer me up, I'd go to Bear Down Cuz, as long as we're not talking about the Bears.
Yeah, as long as it's not the Bears, man. But you know what? If you look at the team, man, they just been. I'd be a little depressed too. I'd be on the edge too if I was a Bears fan.
All right, I gotta get out of here. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. I'm gonna continue my show. Have a good
rest, guys.
Yeah, take care, Smitty. Appreciate Smitty, my man. That's my guy. Yeah. So to answer your question, Niner by nature, I got about a month to do that. So, I applied, but there's some things I got to do before I get monetized. I got all the credentials you needed, but gotta wait. YouTube told me to wait a little bit, so I'm at the mercy of YouTube. So we got a month, and then we'll be monetizing. And I want to just keep grinding and get as many people subscribing and hopping in as much as we can until then. And then once we get to that point, we can do better. More content, specific content. Limited content, all that stuff. So you got a little bit to go. So I'm excited though. Season's here. Let's go now that Smitty's gone. Let's do a Q&A. Drop a question, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. So, my man Riley says 9 days until our mental health is in the fate of the Niners. You know what? It already is in the fate of the Niners. Like, come on, man. This week has been absolutely crazy with the quarterback. I still am processing everything. It's crazy, man. Motivation Me says the 49ers are lucky they aren't playing my Lions this season. You know what, man? I'm not even going to hate on you because, the Lions are a nice up-and-coming young team. They got some players on that squad. So shout out to the Lions. I like their head coach, Dan Campbell. He looks like he's turning things around. My boy, Aiden Hutchinson, might be in that Defensive Rookie of the Year race. I like the Lions, man. Good young team. They're underrated. They'll be competitive. I don't know if they'll win a lot of games, but they'll definitely be a competitive team that teams aren't going to want to play. I like the Lions, man. Sleeper team. Shout out. Do a debate show, Niners versus Nation. Dude, that'd be fun. We'll do a little debate show. I got some other ideas I'm trying to work on, but gotta have the time to do certain shows I want to do. I need a cameraman for one of them. want to go around and do some interview type things, but working on it. So let's see. Let's get to these questions. I appreciate all the support out there. I appreciate everybody out there in the chat line and all the followers, all the supporters, everybody that leaves messages, comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, tell your enemies. You know how it goes. I hope everybody's had a good week. I hope everybody's having a good Friday, and I hope everybody has a good weekend. We got some college football on the docket on the weekend. I'm excited for some college football. We got a 3-day weekend. We got Labor Day on Monday. It's good times, man. This is gonna be a good little weekend. The last weekend before football starts. Can you believe it? Can you guys believe this is the last weekend before football? I'm excited, man. Oh my God. It is about to become a madhouse. It's about to become fun. It's about to get crazy. We're going to have so many debates. We're going to have so much content. We are literally a week away from some NFL football, and I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more happy. I couldn't be more excited. It's going to be good stuff, man. Oh, man. Let's see. 10 a.m. Pacific for next week's game. The mental health. Let's go. Looks like the questions aren't loading anymore. I don't know. I'm going to wait for another minute or two. Doesn't look like any more comments are coming in. Let's see. Might be it. I think that's it. No more comments loading in. Well, I guess no questions there. So I think we're going to end it here. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day and enjoy your long, extended weekend. Appreciate all the support. I'll probably be live a little later on Instagram. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, take care. Enjoy the weekend. Get some rest. And I'll see you soon. Bang, bang. Nana gang.